Currently, 20.72% of mortgage credit inquiries are people with a mortgage under 12 months old. Hey everyone, William LeBaron with the MonitorBase Insider Report. This week we want to go into some of the trends and hot spots, things that are happening really right now in the mortgage industry for you. Now, keep in mind, the nature of this report is based on the people that we monitor. And obviously it's going to be clients, databases, customers, prospects. And so some of the trends that we give are representative certainly of what's happening within the set of people we're monitoring. And they indicate some of the trends that are happening in the nation across the board. But they aren't exact replicas of, or exact representations of what's happening across the nation in general. So we might see a large increase in the number of listings in our database. But that listing increase is maybe exaggerated over what you would see if you looked at the general population, which includes a much bigger percentage of renters and people of all ages. So those are things to keep in mind as we go through the report. But there's still a lot of value in being able to see what is happening in the nation on a week-by-week basis based on this report, and it's going to give you early indication of trends and help you stay on top of what's happening. Still, continuing as a trend, the more recent the mortgage, the more likely that person is to be entering the market for a refinance. Currently, 20.72% of mortgage credit inquiries are people with a mortgage under 12 months old. And that's going to continue to represent high risk for EPOs, which we want to keep you cognizant of, and just high risk for runoff. Your clients who've recently funded can do refis right out of those cash out loans and get a lower interest rate because of cash out adjusters or adjustments on pricing or other components. Older mortgages are starting to re-enter the game now. This is seeing a small tick, but it'll be interesting to see if that trend picks up, where those 4 or 5+ year old mortgages are starting to move into the market for a refi. First-time home buyers are regaining ground, and this is a big one. It's quite interesting. About 27.62% of mortgage credit inquiries this month are for people with 0 mortgages. So this isn't only first-time home buyers, but it is predominantly first-time home buyers. Interestingly, we're seeing still the very unusual trend holding consistent, no sign of letting up. The higher the credit score, the more likely that person is to be entering the market for a mortgage, where about 73% of mortgage credit triggers today are for people with a FICO score over 700. And so it's just a very big percentage of the mortgage activity today is top tier credit. Really interesting considerations there for servicers. In a lot of ways, this holds true to the recession that we're experiencing, but it looks like it's a low to moderate income recession. Just generally speaking, lower income and lower FICO households are missing out on the opportunity for taking advantage of these lower interest rates. So what is meant to be an effort to subsidize and help the market is certainly helping a lot of people, but people without reserves, people who've recently been laid off. These are the people that are unable to take advantage of the current interest rate environment, and so they're not receiving a lot of what could be the benefit of today's marketplace. Again, these are just general trends that we're seeing in our database. It doesn't necessarily represent what's happening across the whole US, but we do monitor just millions and millions of households, and so there's a lot that can be extrapolated from this. So that is the report for this week. Feel free to subscribe to this MonitorBase Insider blog, and if you haven't already, join the MonitorBase Insider group for weekly updates and discussions on these topics. So subscribe to the MonitorBase Insider group on Facebook if you haven't already, and subscribe to this MonitorBase Insider blog to continue to get weekly updates on what is happening in the mortgage market today.